record on this computer. We're ready to go. Is everyone ready to begin with mindset?
Yeah, Joyce and Joanna, if you didn't hear, I think Chris had a good idea. Just mute yourselves, because then I'll be able to see the icon, and then when you have something to say, just unmute it, and then I'll know that you're ready to go.
All right, I'm going to start. I'm going to get us muted unless you want to do we want to do a group introduction, or I think we'll just let Matt introduce. All right, I'm going to get.
I like when he just cuts off like that, so. Okay. Joyce, look alive. Ready? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Here we go. Hey, everybody. Welcome to your module on mindset. We're glad to have you this morning. We have Chris here with us, Joyce is with us, and Joanna's with us. So we're excited to share with you the idea about mindset. Mindset is very important. That's why we made it module 1. And I wanted to ask you a question first. Have you guys ever known somebody that when you meet them, it just seems like they always have their shit together? Everything they do just seems to be working out, and you're wondering, like, what are they doing and why are they always having that much success? Have you ever known somebody like that? Because I know I have. The reason I ask you that, though, is the question is, are they born that way, or did they develop some sort of skills and habits along the way to become like that? And the way you answer that question will kind of let you know where your mindset is right now. We read a book by Carol Dweck called Mindsets, and her book gives you some good insights, and there's 2 different mindsets that we all deal with. One is a fixed mindset and one is a growth mindset. Someone with a fixed mindset would say that that person who's always successful was born that way. They have a lot of abilities, they have a lot of talents. It seems like they can always make this stuff happen. Someone with a growth mindset would say that that person developed skills and habits that have allowed them to see successes in the world. So the way you're looking at the world and different parts of your life can actually be different on mindsets. I know I had some growth here and fixed here, but the thing with a fixed mindset is sometimes it holds you back, because people with a fixed mindset see themselves as who they are without room for growth. So if you fail at something, that's very scary, because then you're going to be labeled a failure. And you feel like that's just what you're going to be for the rest of your life. And that kind of can keep you trapped and stuck and not doing anything or taking any chances, because you feel like if you fail, everyone's is gonna yell at you and blame you and snicker at you and all that stuff. I wanted to give you a quick, I don't know if anyone is a golf fan, but there's a golfer named Sergio Garcia, and he was long time known as just being a hothead. And the reason is he had a fixed mindset. He figured that he wasn't good enough. And this is a guy who would throw shoes. He threw shoes at a fan once just because he was so upset. He fired caddy after caddy after caddy because he thought it was their fault. He thought it was something they must be doing. He didn't see his mistakes and his failures as growth opportunities. Now, there is a sports figure that did that a lot better, and I know Joanna knows. It's Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan actually missed 26 potential game-winning shots. But who remembers that because of all the ones he did make? Michael Jordan was notorious for seeing his failures and his shortcomings when he was on the court as ways to grow and get better. That's why he was the first one in the gym every day, because he's like, oh, I missed this fadeaway. I got to work on my fadeaway, and things like that. Michael Jordan had a growth mindset, which propelled him to be the best basketball player ever. Sergio Garcia struggled and was always the best player never to win a big tournament, up until recently, of course, but you can tell where their mindsets were different. Sergio's held him back while Michael's propelled him forward. Now, I know we all have different things that have happened in our own lives, and I'll give you an example of mine, and then we'll open it up to the rest of the panel for some discussion. But when a few years ago, before I had made the change to coaching, I was frustrated in my career. And I would have said I had a growth mindset at the time, but now looking back on it, I can realize how it was fixed. See if this sounds familiar. I don't have skills to do that job, so I can't go after that. I can't get out of my sales career because I don't have any skills doing something different. I don't know computers. I can't get an IT job. And then you sit here. And I spun just in that world of like, well, I can't do that because of this. And all I was looking at were my limitations. All I was looking at was my potential failures because I didn't know how to do anything. Luckily for me, it came to a point where I just needed to make a change. And so the one thing I started doing that changed me was I just started reading self-development books. I started looking at new videos and being inspired by different stuff. And then once I started growing, I realized what was happening and realized I could push my direction in my new career in any way I wanted. So that's how I took myself from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. And like I said, I know different parts of your life you can be thinking, kind of a little more fixed, and something else might be a little more growth. But if you feel stuck somewhere, you probably have a fixed mindset about what's not possible. So I want to open it up. Maybe we have another story or another idea on mindset from one of your other coaches. I think Chris is ready. We'll go to him. What's up, Chris? You got to unmute yourself first, bro. Chris is our CTO. He's our technology officer. He's laughing because he thinks he knows the computer, but he doesn't. It's fun when you have everybody muted. You guys have to do Zoom calls with people because you can make fun of them while they can't say anything. There you go. Welcome back.
Thank you for that wonderful intro. Thank you. As you can tell, I'm not afraid of failure, failing to unmute myself and talk. So here we go. When you talk about fixed versus growth mindset. So for me, a lot of people say, "Boy, Chris, you've got a lot of self-confidence," and maybe a little too much self-confidence. Maybe that's also the case. And I tell people the reason I have a lot of self-confidence is I fail more than people. It's just as simple as that. I've taken more chances than people, and I understand that my growth happens when I'm pushing the envelope. So to Matt's point, when he was talking about growing, and he said, "Wow, when I learned these new skills, all of a sudden, I got into this kind of a growth mindset." So that's for me. So look, I do stand-up comedy, and one of the reasons I do stand-up comedy is because it's the edge for me. I'm pushing myself to do something that I'm not in 100% control over. Look, I think things are so darn funny in my head, and then you get up on stage and people are looking at you like this. Do you feel how uncomfortable that is? Did you feel that? Imagine that on stage for 10 minutes. You'll know what's the closest thing to coming to hell is on earth. And I've had those moments where you're just like, ah, and people are like, and they look at each other like. But the thing is that I survived it. And then I said, okay, and then I get back up and I do it again. And then you have a set where everybody's laughing and you go, wow, I can do this. So really it's that positioning of, growth happens when I'm failing forward. So I really appreciate you, Matt, kind of unpacking that piece for me, because it reminds me to fail forward, to have that growth mindset. So thank you for that.
Nice. Yeah, that's a great point, Chris, because like you said, anyone else with a fixed mindset would have said, "Oh, I failed. I'm not a stand-up comic. Nobody's going to laugh at me. I don't know why I'm doing this." So yeah, that's a great point, Chris. I'm glad you brought that up. I actually always wanted to try stand-up and I never did it. So, so Joanna, what do you got going on? And don't forget to unmute yourself like Chris. See what I did there?
Well, I think for me, I can vacillate between the two. And I think once I've had the opportunity to live in growth mindset for a while, I recognize it when I start to get a little fixed. So I think it's a constant awareness, because it's easy to get stuck in patterns and behaviors and thought processes that are old. I mean, we were talking before we started recording the call about how things in our childhood are branded us in certain ways that we have to go find and undo. Mm-hmm. And every once in a while, I do hear those voices in my head going, "You can't fit all that in a day. That's too much. That's too expensive. You don't need to be doing that, or that's too much. You aren't the kind of person that gets to do those things."
Yeah.
So I think that's an important point here, is that it's not, once you're in growth mindset, you're not like home free. It's a constant growth space. But once you've been there, it's pretty easy to identify the fixed mindset. And of course, as coaches, we're trained to recognize that in others too. And with I think a growth mindset can turn fixed because you get into that new level of things, and then you're not going to the next thing.
Right.
So I appreciate you mentioning that. It's, those are great examples with your sports analogies.
Mm-hmm. Thank
We
you.
can all find that, of course, but it's where is that in our real life? And I think in some places, like for me, health and exercise, I'm still kind of fixed because I resist it. But then when it comes to coaching and personal development and training, I'm in a growth stage. So I think that can happen too, different phases in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate
How do
bringing
we
that
switch
up.
out of it? What would you say to that?
To the what? I'm sorry.
Switch out of it when you're catching yourself in the fixed mindset.
I definitely think you make an intention to realize when you're being negative, and you feel that like, oh, I feel like, to me it's like a feeling of like closing in and like, oh, I can't do that, that's scary, versus how do we find the answer? You become, one thing Carol does mention in her book, Joanna, is you become solution oriented when you're in a growth mindset. I mean, it's simple. I mean, think about it in a small sense, like, oh, let's go get ice cream. Okay, and you go to say Baskin Robbins and it's closed. Oh, well, we can't get ice cream, right? I mean, it just shut it down. We can't do it. It's not for us. Or you could go, well, let's find somewhere else. We got a phone. We can Google it. You're open to possibilities and finding a way to get your goals. So that's a very good point. Chris, what do you got, man? We'll come to you next, Joyce.
I unmuted myself.
Thanks. Good work. Good work, too.
I wanted to relate this to work. So this is what kind of came up to me, and it was keyed on what you said about being solution oriented. And when I'm working with people, I'm working with companies, one of the things I say is that there's people who are problem oriented. Look at all the problems we have. Look at this problem, look at that problem, look at this problem, there's another problem. Or they're the people who are solution oriented, which is like, look, that's a problem, how do we fix it? And really that's the essence of, for me, growth versus fixed mindset is, am I problem oriented or solution oriented? And it's a really key difference for thinking, if you're really looking in that kind of growth mindset. People get really stuck in all the things that are wrong, and it kind of keys into some of the other things we're going to be talking about, which is, not blaming, complaining, and some of the other, modules that we have here, is that you can find people who are just stuck over here. Look at all the problems we have. And whenever I'm, to join your point where I'm like, oh, look at all the problems, and you stop and go, wait, what would I prefer? What would I like to see happening? So it doesn't just work in sports. It doesn't just work in a personal, in our lives. It works at business also, this idea of growth versus fixed mindset. Now, of course, we have our human resources person who's in the box below me. I'm going to point down, who decided to jump back on the call. Apparently had a little technical difficulties. Let's hear from her. What do you think?
Excellent. So actually, the perfect segue into what I was going to talk about in my human resources role. I worked for a major corporation in my past life, and we had such great potential in our region to make phenomenal amounts of money, but we just were not hitting our numbers. Our sales team was frustrated, but our sales team lived in that fixed mindset. Well, this is the way we always did it, so this is the way we do it. And we brought in a new regional president, and the day he walked in the door, his mantra was change energizes us. And we, as the HR team, then took that message to the streets and really got people involved in, just because we always did it that way doesn't mean we have to do it that way. So we went from that fixed mindset to the growth mindset. And we found that the people that adapted to that, the people that embraced it, ran with it, and said, let's try things new and different, and let's see what sticks. Let's try some fun stuff and see what sticks to the wall. And those folks actually became our most successful sales team. And we went from being mid of the pack to battling back and forth. And this was a major Fortune 50 company. We went from being middle of the pack, lower middle of the pack, to battling back and forth between number one and number two spots we're in Southern California, and the New York market was the other market. And we went back and forth for the next 2 years. Once we got people really believing that we can change, we can make a difference, you need to be able to feel the comfort to try. I know that Jack Canfield often says, feel the fear and do it anyway. So don't allow yourself to get stuck in this is the way we've always done it. Sometimes you have to get out of that icky that comfortable thing and feel okay in that different, uncomfortable place so that you can make that change that you need to make.
That's right. That's a great point, Joyce. I appreciate bringing it. And I wish we planned this. It actually worked out perfect. So I want to tell you, even this video is not perfect. Joyce's thing fell out. Her video fell out when she's gone and she comes back. Chris couldn't get his mute. It doesn't have to be perfect. Life isn't perfect. You go and you do and you put it out there and you're still going to do great. So since we have a superpower theme a little bit, I wanted to talk about Christopher Reeves as another story real quick. As we all know, Superman fell off a horse and was paralyzed. And all the doctors told him he would never move from the neck down again. And he didn't like that idea. He didn't want to be in a hospital bed like that for the rest of his life. And he set in his mind that he would move again. And little by little, he started gaining control of his fingers and his toes. And he was finally able to sit up. And he actually was able to move a little bit, even after all the doctors and all the experts told him he would be paralyzed with no movement whatsoever, because he had a growth mindset and he was not going to just take no for an answer. So that's a good point, that people in your life have their own limiting beliefs. They have their own self-doubts and fears, and you don't have to let them affect you because of what they say. So don't listen to that outside stuff. We would lose a lot of great people that do a lot of things for us. I took some notes. I don't know if you knew, Albert Einstein couldn't even read until he was 4. And his teachers thought he was stupid. I mean, that's Albert Einstein. Walt Disney was fired from his newspaper job for a lack of imagination. Walt Disney. Lack of imagination. Stephen King's first book, Carrie, which, man, I don't even know how successful that is, the movie and everything. His book was rejected 30 times, his first book. But he kept at it. He had a growth mindset. He knew he wanted to go for it. Steven Spielberg was rejected from film school twice before he finally got in. And Oprah, everybody loves Oprah. What was she fired for? She was fired from her first TV job because they said they wanted her to separate her emotions from the stories. They didn't like how emotional she got. And then she had her own talk show for 300 years, and now she has her own network and everything. So don't allow people outside of you to bring you back. What we're trying to say, I guess, hopefully you can tell, is it's going to behoove you. It is going to move you in your direction of your goals if you take a growth mindset and you look at the opportunities that come up as opportunities, potential, room to grow, things like that, because that's what's going to get you to your goal. If you were the type of person that could make $1 million already, you'd already be making $1 million. So if you are not to your goal yet, there's room for growth and you can get there as long as you just stay open to what's necessary. I think that's pretty much the main theme here on that. So mindset is important. We're going to learn a lot of things going through these modules, a lot of great habits and techniques that you guys have brought up about what we can do to stay in this positive mindset. But just start thinking right now. We want to set an intention that we have a growth mindset. We're going to hit our goals and we will figure out a way to get them. And if you stick with that, you go through this program in life, you are going to see so much more success than if you stayed in your little bubble and try to go through your comfort zone. So we appreciate your time. This is Module 1 on Mindset. Come back to it if you need any refreshers. We'll look forward to see you next in the next module. Take care.
I'm unmuting now.
There you go.
I assume it's going to be our editor.
Yeah.
We could talk about, I could do the recommended exercise just to run this through before I do a record version. So the exercise that goes with mindset that we decided in the module was gratitude and success journals. And that's the homework, is to get a separate journal for your gratitude and successes. And one thing that I wanted to mention that isn't in our material is I actually keep my gratitude and success journal separate from my just get it on paper journal, because that way, if there's anything negative that comes up for me in journaling, I still let it out, but it's not right next to my gratitude and success. So if I grab my success in my gratitude journal and I'm excited about the day and I'm in that moment, I don't get brought down by the thing that I might have been challenged with the day before. So I don't want to make more work for people, but for me, that's been really powerful, because I don't grab, and my journal's not negative, but it just kind of keeps it in a special space. And, like when I put the things in the box that people are allowed to open when I die, then it'll be the gratitude and success journals. The rest of them get burned with me.
No, I really like this idea. It's like I think
That's great, Joanna.
the whole idea here is that we're not obsessing over the things that are annoying us or the things that are upset. Sometimes it's good to get it out, but then you have the discipline to flip it to, hey, wait a second, what am I grateful for in this or in this person or this situation? So it's a good point. So I appreciate you sharing. I do. Yes.
And when we're ready, I'll just record a little. I mean, it's probably 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes tops of explaining
Sure.
what the Gratitude Success Journal is as the homework for this module.
I have a financial idea.
Great.
We could put together our own gratitude and success journal for sale. I would love to put that so each day has a different quote of something positive from a different person. I would love to take that challenge on.
That would be
That's
awesome.
a great idea,
Why not
Joyce.
have another value add for?
Not just a pretty face. All right.
Not just an inmate.
Right.
I'm going to hold up numbers next time.
This is my gratitude journal from Pensacola State Prison.
Joyce, I have my sister-in-law did a gratitude journal, very different from what we're talking about, but she did it, self-published it through Amazon. And if you want to have a shortcut conversation with her about how that worked, I think she could save us some time on what worked and what didn't, and sources and that type of thing, because she did it 2 years ago, and hers has Bible verses and little exercises and things in it, but the format would be similar to what we're talking about, I think.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I have one that I used to use that
Excuse me.
is it Sarah? I can never say her last name, but the Simple Abundance person. I kind of have an idea of that, but I'd love to see what your sister-in-law did and find out what steps she took too, because that'll help.
I think that it's not so much the style of the book as the how did she get it published, and where were her. I think she ended up selling them on Amazon for $5.99 or $6.99, and she still made money on them. And I'm sure they're.
I wonder if we could even just get that made through like Vistaprint or one of those easy ones where we just buy 20 of them and have them sent to one of our houses, because in the beginning we're only going to have so many people in this, but
I think what worked for her is that she went straight to Amazon, and they did kind of a self-published thing, just like you would a book. That way she could, if it went viral, but she also didn't have to buy it. And bigger piece to that, and I know this from my jewelry business, is it is a pain to have to get an email, go to the store, write the envelope out, take it to the post office. I think we want to skip that step of distribution, because it is the part of the nightmare.
Smart.
That's for the price that she was able to sell them for, which is I thought was very reasonable. Connecting that piece to be, and plus then we've got a best-selling book on Amazon.
Exactly.
And a back of the room sale for box.
It's just a bright screen.
On the online course, I just added a task: create a journal for success, and I put you in as the primary on it. So there you go.
Nice. Good job.
All right, so I will have that. We'll have 360. I'll be looking up 365 quotes over the next week.
Yeah.
I'll send you some. I've got a book that's got good stuff. I'll screen some stuff and send it for.
Perfect. And I've got some good stuff, and I'm sure if you guys have anything else, that way we can put everybody's name on it. So we all
got you 20 or 30. That would really be helpful, wouldn't it?
That would be great. And then all of our names will be on it. So then we will all be best-selling authors.
What a great exercise too, though, Joanna. It's great. Let's all find 20 of our favorite quotes.
Yeah.
Or 30. You could get Angie to do a few. I'll even get Angie. We'll just, if everyone does it, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
That's great. I love it. Great idea, Joyce.
Oh,
quick, easy.
You're hired. You are hired.
Fast, but I wonder if
how many quotes do we need each? 50?
Well, let's see. I mean, get whatever you can get, and I'll get the rest. So 365 divided by how many people are we going to have on it?
Bring Angie 5.
Just say 5 for sure.
Okay, so 73. If we have 365 divided by 70 by 5 is 73. If you fall short of that, then I will pick up and get whatever the rest is.
When do you want to have the quotes by?
Yeah, I was gonna say, how fast can we do this? I wonder if we could get this done for New Year's or Christmas.
Yeah, I would love to get it done before Christmas. So if we
That'd be
could
so
get it,
cool.
I mean, I don't know how quickly Amazon will get it done, but
Hey, Joyce, I'll
This
get
is- I
Mandy
mean, we
involved.
can do a small run, like Matt was saying, just
yeah,
I'll
absolutely.
get, I was gonna say, I'll get Mandy involved too to help find some. Since you're taking the lead, why don't you figure out like layouts and designs and things like that, and we'll work on the quotes. You don't worry about so many quotes unless you have some you want. But since you're gonna take the lead, why don't you work on design and how it's gonna look?
I'll do that. I will do that as well. New project for the week, yay!
Yeah, that's awesome.
tell us font size, tell us style, just so that when we send it to you the first time, it's pretty close to edited.
All right, I will do
You
that.
guys remember Max Headroom? Just on a
Yeah.
side note.
Yeah.
With the light coming behind me, do I look a little bit like Max Headroom?
You
You
need
have to have
some neon colors on, but yeah.
Your head needs to be bigger, I think, on the screen. You know what I mean? Like,
Kind of like mine is, and then I don't have the seam.
Chris Titus.
There we go.
Just real
Chris
quick.
Titus, yes.
Okay,
Thank you. Feedback real quick. Chris, did you have us speaking for the mindset call where it was speaker view?
I had, when you were speaking, I had, like when you did your intro, it wasn't the four of us. I didn't record it that way. I
Okay.
recorded speaker view. So you were main and we were little tiny heads in the corner.
Okay.
Then when you were talking, say, hey, let's hear from Chris, let's hear from, I made it so it was the four of us. So it's like the panel. One of the key things to remember, by the way, when we're talking like this is to smile and be like, oh yes, and nod, right? Just a key point, not
Like that?
not quite so,
Oh.
I don't know, like you're having a seizure.
That's actually a great point, because I when I used to sing for Rick Warren at Saddleback, I used to have people tell me, because I would always like intentionally, I would look at the center back of his head and I would intentionally react to things he was saying, because I was always over his shoulder because I'm short and the way that the video camera was. And I would get people all the time going, oh my gosh, you're so engaged. You're so like, I love. And I'm just this little thing over the back of his shoulder on the Jumbotron at church. But that, like, I used to get a lot of people coming up to me saying that, and like, so I think it's important that you don't just sit there and go, or, you very, very aware of what your face looks like. And that when Matt makes a point or Chris or Joanna makes a point, that we're like, oh yeah, I understand that. Like, yeah, like we're a participant in it as well.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
so just an awareness for us to have. I was catching myself, like I'm going, okay, and then you're like, I wonder if the kids are getting up. Wait a second.
Yeah.
So it's that being really engaged from the point, because again, it's the whole idea of connecting to the group. So we can just awareness for next time, because I was concentrating on myself to make sure I wasn't really watching everybody else, but just to remember that while we're doing these things. All right, I feel good, Joanna.
I knew that you would.
I just wanted to give a little feedback on how we rolled with that. The intro was great. You told people what we were talking about. I connected with you when you told the story. So I think moving the story up for all of us going forward is lead, quick intro and lead in with a story, because at that point, I mean, I knew where you're going, but I was also trying to figure out the examples that you were going to give. And as soon as you gave the examples, I was like, oh yeah, that's it. As much as I know this material, it still took me to that point to really go, okay, this is where we are. It was definitely good. There's no reason to redo or undo anything. For all of us, I think it'd be good to remember to put our story very, very quickly.
Okay, that's good. That's a great point. So, well, I think we should also shoot Joanna's real quick.
Yep.
Get that done, because we got like 15 minutes left. So let's do that, and then.
All right.
So you're basically just going to talk on your own here, Joanna, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, perfect.
Okay, so the homework for Module 1, to help you shift from potentially a fixed mindset in some categories of your life or all of it to growth mindset, and how to reset that button every day, even maybe a couple of times a day. So the tool that I'm
hold on a second. Oh, sorry to interrupt. I didn't have quite this view set up properly, so if you could restart, that'd be good. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Also, real quick, Joanna, just your earring is going back and forth. Yeah.
I don't sit still.
Very cute, super cute earrings. Super, super cute, but it's going back and forth. My eye kept going to that.
Got it. Okay. I'll have to, good to know. Don't wear heavy earrings. Okay, sweet. All right. Okay, I'm ready now. So the homework for module 1, this part, is a success journal and a gratitude journal. And the reason why that's helpful in creating and maintaining your growth mindset is so you can dig into what's working for you and what you're grateful for. So the recommendation here and the homework that we're requiring of you for participating in this program is every day write 5 successes that you had in the day. They could be as simple as I remembered to eat breakfast, or for me it'd be I ate eggs instead of donuts for breakfast. That would be a success for me. We had quality family time. I got my exercise in. I completed a certain work project. And gratitude, when you've not been in the habit of doing this daily, it's kind of hard to think about what are you grateful for, especially if you're having a rough day. But I'm grateful that the sun came out today. I am grateful that the leaves are falling and it's so pretty when I look out the windows. I'm grateful for the fact that I feel good and I'm healthy and I don't have any allergies right now. So it doesn't have to be anything extremely huge. You could be grateful for just being a human on this earth and having an opportunity to work with great coaches like us. The idea is to reprogram your mind in the fact that you are always looking for an opportunity to honor yourself in success and to be grateful for the things outside yourself in your life. So the homework is every day in a journal, 5 successes and 5 things you're grateful for. And I found this exercise a couple years ago. I keep my success and gratitude journal is separate from my download journal, so that when I can keep track of how often I've used it because I date it. 2, all the energy that I've put into gratitude and success is very positive and powerful. Sometimes a journal is just a download of your feelings and thoughts, and it may not even really make a lot of sense. And you might be flipping through it and come across a page that reminded you of a sad or unhappy moment when you're trying to do your gratitude and success. So we have a surprise for you coming up very soon, if it's not already available, for a gratitude journal from the Choices Your Superpower group. In the meantime, if you don't have it yet, we'll let you know how to order it. Second of all, just go grab a little book from the dollar store and start your gratitude and success journal, or in the back of an existing journal if you want to do that. But keeping it separate kind of keeps the energy in the positive direction. Thank you guys, and we look forward to hearing you check in. Please, on our private Facebook page, let us know that you've done this journal and how it's worked for you. We'd love to hear the success stories, and maybe even set a calendar in your day of when you're going to do it until you get in the habit of doing it every day. That's our tips on success and gratitude journals.
Point of clarification here, Joanna, will you also include their appreciations? Would that also be in your journal?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for
Joyce,
unpacking that for us, by the way.
Yes.
You've inspired me to go be appreciative and gratitude of saying, that was a great idea. Motivated me to get back to, writing all down those successes. So thank you very much.
That was good, Joanna. That's one I've fallen off on recently. I haven't done that in a while.
I think I do it in my head, but I don't document it.
I know.
do the same thing, and then sometimes you forget. I did have that win, especially when it's so easy when you're having a down day to let that, and to have it, to be able to pull your successes out and go, okay, these things happened. Like, I've got good stuff going on.
Yeah.
The little list of things. I was on my mastermind call, and nobody wanted to be the facilitator. And I'm like, I'll do it. I don't care. And at the end, everybody's like, oh my God, you're a facilitator every time. Oh my gosh, it was so great. And it was so easy and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, I guess I am.
You're like, there's one of my talents right there.
I'm like, okay, thanks. Thanks. I needed that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, good, Joanna. That was excellent. I think that's perfect. I think we just got 2 modules done for week 1.
All right. Beautiful.
Was it a module or was it home? I'm looking at this deal. I think it's still module 1, but we have
video. 2 videos.
Is the success habits. Can someone do a video on affirmations, and then we I see what you're saying. got 2 of the things for module 1.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Let's see what else is in there.
I was like, man, how do we get a whole thing? We have blaming and complaining, awareness of thoughts and words, success habits, and you need a friend.
Yeah. So I'm doing awareness of thoughts and words, and
I only talked about the 1 homework of gratitude and success, but the second homework is negative thoughts.
But the blaming, complaining, we should have gotten from.
Oh, that's right.
About complaining. That one should be done from when we were all together, and I did that one.
So really, all that's left is awareness of thoughts and words, and then the homework which is replacing negative thoughts with what you want.
So let's target that one for Wednesday morning. That one will be from I'm on vacation, but I'm committing to staying and doing this on Wednesday. We're going to be just a new and good, I guess would be saying, is we're staying at Patty's house over Thanksgiving.
Oh, that's so
Are
wonderful.
you really?
She invited us. She's going somewhere else, so we're essentially puppy sitting for her. Somebody's going to puppy sit for us, so we can get kind of out of our normal bubble. So
We're fun, man.
Yeah,
Act as if, dude. Yes.
right.
Awesome.
yes.
We are expecting a tour of the house, by the way.
And I'm going to TP.
Well, this is great. I think that you need to record the Saturday module, or are you there Wednesday and Saturday, or?
I'll be with Wednesday and Saturday. Yeah.
I think you should highlight that maybe you don't say at her house, but like a major, I think there's a success in that of when you surround yourself with great people.
Yeah.
Without bragging, but still, like, this really happens.
Well, you know what be good? Maybe on that one, what's our next module that we're going over? The next one is
Awareness of thoughts.
awareness of thoughts and
There's Law of Attractions module 3. And
let's talk about that. What I would like to propose that we do that, and I'll talk a little bit like, look, I'm at a friend's house who's extremely successful, who's talking. How would you like to stay at our house for Thanksgiving? And that opportunity came up when we took it. And Matt has a great story, and maybe you could talk a little bit about your speaker's piece, because I think that's really another great one for us to talk about. So that's a great story for it. It's just saying, look,
let's find which module these in.
Bureau, and I got invited to this very, the whole Napoleon Hill thing. So I think that's a great story for those two to go together. So maybe we could talk. Let's plan on this week one. I'll do the one on, the awareness of thoughts and what, thoughts and words.
I thought I was doing that one.
You're doing that one. So then you do that one. Sorry. If you're doing that one, you do that one. And then how about we do...
What about affirmations, Chris? We're both pretty fresh on that from class last week, because that's the other thing on module 1 that we haven't covered is the success habit of affirmations. What are they? How do they work? What's the structure? Okay.
Yeah. Let's do the affirmation ones. I might put together some slides for that. I have I might put together some slides for that. Whose name was on that one? I'm forgetting. I don't have the thing in front of me right now.
Yeah, the version I have doesn't have the names on it, so I don't know.
One moment.
So you're doing awareness of thoughts and words. Is that right?
I was originally assigned to that, but I am willing to be flexible. I have a growth mindset, so I can change that if you want to do that.
If you want to do that one, then let's have you do that. And then what else can we do for that for next week? What's a good one? Is just talking about kind of the law of attraction, like being ready for opportunities when they
Yeah, I'm looking through the list. Law of attraction, I think, is where that really fits in for both your Patty story and Matt's story. And then the other one would be kind of releasing the brakes. I don't know. It's more like recognizing opportunity. So maybe it is part of affirmations. I don't know. You guys think about it, but I think there's a way to tell the stories and make sure that they fit into one of the modules.
You know what I think it says? Being open to opportunities when they come out. I mean, it's almost a tie-in a little bit to the. It makes sense in this module when we're talking about having growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. So why don't we just be flexible in this one, and let's talk about look, when you have a growth mindset, opportunities are going to come up for you. Are you going to take action on them?
And the law of attraction is activated, and
the law of attraction is activated, these kind of pieces. So maybe Matt can, tell that story, and I'll tell the story about, hey, look, I'm currently in Santa Barbara with my kids. I'm not going to, I'm at a very successful person's house staying here. Really feel very fortunate for this. This opportunity came up, and we said yes. These are the kind of opportunities that come up to you when you have a growth mindset and when you're thinking this way. You're tracking you're using the law of attraction, but you're doing the key piece of the law of attraction is you're taking action. And Matt's got a great example too, and then he can talk about that, and then maybe you guys can also prepare a story for that. So let's just talk about when opportunity knocks, answer the freaking door.
Who's going to break out affirmations? Who's going to do that one?
We don't have a particular name on that one. I can do that one. I can do affirmations because I do affirmations all the time. So I'm good on doing the affirmation one. So.
Well, and I think we can all share. I think we all do it. That may be one where the presenter doesn't have to say a lot, but I think and the slides are a great idea so that people can remember, because it's hard when hearing the proper way to do an affirmation the first time and what all is included. I mean, I redid mine after Train the Trainer this week and found flaws in each of mine, which I thought I had followed all the rules. So
I didn't know that there were rules and affirmations. I'm just like talking to myself.
Well, they're not rules, but just certain things that work better.
Well, I'm excited to hear this module then, because I've just been going, I'm so proud of you, Joyce, for doing this, and this showed up great. And so
I think maybe that's a huge piece of that is that these are suggested guidelines. This will help you do it really well. This also works. This is how I've been doing it. And it's not that you're giving them conflicting advice. We're just not letting them get hung up on the fact that they haven't sat down and followed all this protocol. Because some people will want to do it 100% right, and other people will be like, I just want to do this all day. So
Yay!
Our different personalities and how we use affirmations is really good.
Yeah. No, I'm actually really interested in hearing the additional pieces of it. Because, when you're sitting in BTS, it's like drinking from a fire hose and you're writing down stuff. I know that between watching this stuff online and what I remember and things in BTS, I'm like, oh, wait, when did he say that? Or there are pieces that I know that I missed.
Well, and it wasn't until we taught it and Jack was watching, did we even follow the guy?
I got a question. Have we done goals though yet?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So for me, we really probably should follow the formula of setting the goal first, and then the affirmation, because really the idea is what's your goal and what is your breakthrough goal. So maybe we should talk about.
That's interesting because goals is not even listed here, I don't think, but module 2 is actually where we do the affirmations as homework. So maybe we do make it more goal setting and then move affirmations to module 2.
Yeah, because I'm just trying to think of the logic of it. Is first you have to decide what you want.
Yeah, you're right.
You have a goal, and then you write an affirmation around the goal. I mean, that is the premise. Is being very clear on what your goal is. We seem to have lost. So I'm going to say, let me change this one to goals.
Yeah.
Because then that's something we can all talk to.
Affirmations down to module 2 just to make sure we don't miss it. I mean, it's in the homework, but.
And you know what? This one works better for me because I have a speaking engagement the following week. And one of the things is I want to talk about breakthrough goals and doing this. And what I'm going to do is that this will help get me prepared for that. So I'll have my slides for that. And I've got a 45-minute, intro to this 3-day event that my friends have in Vegas. So that'll help me, focus and get that down. So, and you guys can maybe even give me a little feedback. Say, Chris, we liked it, or do a little bit better. Because I'm excited. I'm so excited to do it.
Yeah, of course.
So I got thoughts and words for Joyce, and I got goals for me for this Wednesday, and I put it in the little planner here. So I tag the two of us. If we get Matt back on here, we can do the Monday Morning Minute. Non-video participant.
He's on the phone.
Chris, my video's not working for some reason. I don't know if it's my internet or what.
Yeah, what are you using my excuse?
What's that?
So what are you using my excuse?
I don't know. I just think he's naked.
I will say I went to my P.O. box today to pick up my charging cord so that you guys didn't have to have me on the iPhone this morning. So, yeah.
It worked out all right.
Matt,
It's,
restart. Do me a favor, restart. I want to do the minute here real quick. We're about 7 o'clock right now. I'd like to do the Monday morning minute and see how that goes. So log off of Zoom and then log back in. All right.
all of us?
Okay.
No, just Matt, the problem child.
Like, what's wrong with this?
Okay, I'll be back in a
What are
minute.
we talking about on the Monday morning minute? What's our topic?
What I'm gonna do is ask him for what you want,
Okay.
because my son gave us a perfect example yesterday from Disney. So I figured that'd be a good one to talk about. Is we'll talk about that one. So my one is like one of the key things if you want to be successful is asking for what you want. And I'll tell you who epitomizes this is my son. He's 7. Right?
So be a 7-year-old.
He's a 7-year-old and he has this nailed. And and I have to tell you, as a parent, it can be really annoying. You're just like, can I have an ice cream? And then he says, can I have an ice cream? I'm like, no, well, let me think about it. I'm like, can I have an ice cream? And eventually you get to the point where like, dude, you're gonna have a freaking ice cream. You know, like, so he's not afraid to ask for what. Sometimes it's drives you a little bananas, but I decide to celebrate the fact that this is a key thing. He's not afraid. He is not afraid of asking what he wants. And we were on the Toy Story ride at Disney, and one of the ride that we were on, it didn't stop perfectly, so we didn't get to do one of the things. It's a shooting game and a competition game in Disney, and we weren't able to do one of the scenes. And Carter was like, my son's like, we didn't get to do that. And I said, well, what do you want? And he says, well, I'd like to go on again. And there's like a 30-minute wait. And he says, well, what do you think you should do? I said, I don't know. I said, maybe you should ask for what you want. I said, but I'm not going to ask. If you want this, you have to ask the person. So he walks up, 7 years old, walks up to the attendant and goes, the ride didn't work. Oh, Matt's back.
Hello.
All right. So we're going to be talking this morning about Monday Morning Minute. I'm going to do asking for what you want, and I've got an example from my son. So here we go. And scene. No. Good morning, everybody. We are starting with a Choices Your Superpower, what we're going to call the Monday Morning Minute, something for you to think about for the following week. The topic I'd like to talk to you about is asking for what you want. One of the most successful things you can do is asking for what you want. And I have a person in my life who epitomizes this for me. It's my 7-year-old son. Now, as a parent, your kids asking over and over and over and over again can be, let's say, a little trying, when they continue to ask for stuff. But I've decided to celebrate this because it's such an important habit for successful people. So we were at Disneyland and we're on the Toy Story ride. If you've ever been on the Toy Story ride, it's one of these things where you have a little, shooter and you try to knock down little icons and you get score points. So that's the whole ride. Well, our cart that we were in didn't exactly work properly in one of the scenes, and we weren't able to do one of the scenes. And my son's like, we didn't get to do the one scene. And I'm like, okay, son, well, what would you prefer? He goes, well, I'd like to go on the ride again. At this point, there was about a 30 to 45-minute wait. And I said, well, you could ask the attendant for that. But I said, I am not going to ask. You have to ask. And he says, okay. My 7-year-old son walks right up to the attendant and says, the ride wasn't working, and I'd like to go on the ride again. And she looks at him, well, you should have told the person when you were getting off that, that the ride wasn't working properly. And he just like, yeah, but, I didn't get to do the one scene. She goes, well, give me a minute. And she gets on the computer and does her thing. And she says, well, okay, I'll let you go on the ride, but please next time tell the attendant when you get off. So we got to go on the ride again and not have to wait in the 30-minute line because he asked for what he wanted. Now, this is just this kind of a simple story to this, but I would encourage you, if your kids are always asking you, and even though it might be a little annoying sometimes, is to remember that this is a key success principle. And it's something I also tell people at work when they're working on projects and they're having difficulty. I always tell them, what do you think you should do? I'm like, I don't know. Like, you should ask for help. Ask for what you want. So this week, we'd like you to think about asking for what you want. Now I see a smile on Joyce's face. I have a feeling that she wants to say something. So.
Well, I have the pleasure of knowing your children and spending time with them. And one of the things that I do when I'm with your sweet children is even if it's going to be a no, I will always encourage him. Thank you for asking. Right now, the answer is no, but ask again. We'll see what comes up later. So, when I've just given them sugar something, and 5 minutes later it's, can I have a popsicle? Well, no, but thank you for asking. And, maybe in a little while the answer will be different. So ask me again. So that's one of the things that I encourage him, because at a young age, we want to encourage people, because if they keep getting no's, you're going to stop. Some people, that will make people shy away from asking. But if we are encouraging people, even if we have to give a no. So I think that we need to not be afraid to hear the no too.
Joanna, what do you think?
And in the sales world, we frequently have this saying that the sales are made between the 6th and 12th contact.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't mean that you have to be a pushy person asking for what you want. You ask in different ways. You ask different people. You modify your request in some ways that maybe you don't ask for the entire piece at one time if you know that's a no. What's the first piece of the yes that you need to make the second one happen? So the kids are the great example of how we're conditioned to ask for what we want, and then we're told by everybody else, don't ask so many times. I told you no. And so as adults and young adults, we are conditioned to not ask too many times because we're going to be annoying. So there's the between the 6 and 12 asks of what you want in different ways, different places, maybe even different people, is really relevant in most of our worlds today.
All right, now I know Matt's in sales, and I see a smirk on his face, so I bet he has something to add.
I always have a smirk on my face. No, Joanna, you brought it up right, that we're conditioned as children to hear no, and you like you said, you start shutting down your ability to ask because you're just tired of hearing no. And as you grow up, you hear it so much that when you become an adult, you don't ask enough. But that's something you can change. I mean, that's something, if you become aware of it, you can change it and you can just start asking. And like you said, maybe you got to ask somebody different. Maybe you got to ask another way, but you don't have to settle for no.
No. All right, so that is our Monday morning minutes. I guess minute isn't probably appropriate. Monday morning minutes. So we're going to encourage you this week to ask for what you want. Thank you so very much. We'll see you next Monday. Bye. So what did you guys think?
That was cool. I think that was cool.
Yeah. So I think
under 8 minutes, so we kept that window.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how what kind of traction we get. So we'll add it to the Facebook. What I'll do is we can share it to the other Train the Trainer pieces to get people to kind of come to the page and just share it on our own pages, and just like our Monday morning minute. So I'll edit this, or I'll hand this off to my intern and say, figure out how to edit it.
Make us look good.
Make us look good. And he says, I don't have those abilities, Chris.
Well, that's a fixed mindset, Andrew.
What is it that Jack says? If it's always possible. Anything you want is always possible. It's just, where do you go get it and fix it and find it and timing and
All right. So I think just these ideas. So what I would like to suggest is if you guys have another idea for a Monday morning minute, you bring it, and we all bring one to the table for Wednesday, and we get a couple of these in the pipeline, and we just start getting them out to people. I think these are just it just encourages other people, which always makes me feel good. It gives us different voices, and we get to see all our personalities. So I think this was better than the superpower hour, which Patty said in certain terms was not the greatest idea. But I think this idea is a good one, kind of giving people inspiring things to talk about and to teach. And I'd like somebody else to be the point person, the lead person for next Monday.
I'll do that on Wednesday. I'll come up with something and lead that one.
All right. And then this way, each one of us is the main speaker, and then unpacking it kind of like what Matthew did for that. By the way, Matthew, thank you. I want to just end on appreciation. Thank you for being the first person. Thank you for this idea of this being the panel. I I've got the goosebumps. I think this is the format that will work best for us and is the fastest way for us to get this information out. And to also people to get to understand our personalities a little bit and connect with us. So I appreciate you. I thank you for that. I appreciate, obviously, the ladies for bringing, bringing a different energy to me and Matthew and helping us rein ourselves in, because we get a little crazy.
Excellent.
Yeah, I thought today went really good too. I thought it was good. Joanna and Joyce, did you guys watch it in gallery view or speaker view? Like one big picture or the four?
One big picture of the speaker, and then I have the four of us are on the top of my screen.
That's how I did it too.
You did?
I
Okay.
liked it.
Yeah.
I watched it the whole time with 4 equal pictures. So I don't know.
What I'm going to do is we'll see. I recorded it. The way I recorded it was when Matt was speaking and he was essentially talking for that 3-5 minutes or whatever it was. It was just him and then we were the little tiny people on the side.
Okay.
Then when he said, hey, let's talk to our next panel, I put it into the 4-person view. So I have it in like us, the 4 talking.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
Right?
Love
Because
it.
I figured that's kind of an opportunity where he's going to be asking. And one of the things for me in particular, I want to watch in all of us is in the unpacking piece. Let's try to keep them tight. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Very short. If you think about on the TV shows, they try to keep the points, pretty tight. So I got to have that internal clock in my head, like 30 seconds, a minute, anything over that, you're probably talking too much.
People are shooting out after that.
And let's see what happens. Let's get some feedback from people on the Monday morning minutes. And
Yeah.
see what they think, like, hey, did it go too long? Do you think it should have been shorter? What are the pieces? So we'll
I
figure
think
it out.
trainer sites are a good place for that because they know what we're trying to accomplish. I mean, I've been happy to ask my own network, but I think that's a place that will have some good valuable.
Once we are posted, I think we need to be actively responding to people's comments because that'll keep shooting us up to the top and more people will see us too. So all of us need to really, really be actively in Facebook on when we see it, when someone makes a comment, we get the little, are you guys all getting the notifications when somebody makes comments on stuff?
I don't think I'm set up for that, but I'll do it.
Okay. So I know I get a notification whenever anybody posts anything on The Choice Is Your Superpower. I get a notification, either someone's posted or someone's commented. Like if Chris comments on somebody else's comment, I'll get a notification. And so I always go in and look and see, so if we do that, the more we go in and generate the conversation, it keeps shooting up that post to the top of all of our people's feeds. So that'll get more people engaged. And if we can I don't know if we can start having them sponsored or whatever. I don't know how all that part works with Facebook, but that might show up on other people's pages so that aren't currently liking us, to get them to click and like.
Okay.
That's a good point. So I think I think we might start experimenting with boosting some of these posts just to see if we can get more people engaged in this. So we'll start experimenting with that a little bit. All right.
We might want to add at the end, if you like what you're hearing, if you want to hear more of this kind of content, make sure that you like our page for people that, once we start boosting or posting, like doing the sponsored thing, we say that like if you like what you're hearing, make sure that you like our page so that you don't miss out, something like that, so that we get more likes.
I noticed on here, I just pulled it up, it said team members and it has Angie and Joyce, but it doesn't have Matt and me. So I don't know if that has to be added
Okay.
somewhere.
We're fired.
All right.
Maybe you're not listed. I know I was listed as an admin when it was originally set up, so that might be why.
I also had another an important point that just occurred to me was one of the other people, when they're talking about this kind of selling, of like getting people, is to say, look, when I was working with one of my clients, so it's not you're selling people on it, you just say, when I was working with one of my clients, a corporate, I was working with this company, you embed that into the little Monday morning minute So they're
Mm.
like, oh, this is what I do. And then say, and of course, if you're interested in hearing more about coaching with us, we'd obviously, just instant message, any one of us. I think we're
And
just
Matt, I love what you said. Like a couple of years ago, before I was coaching, that was great.
Thanks.
Right. And so it's that kind of, it's not a heavy sell. It's like, obviously you'd like to learn more about what we do. Please reach out to us. Send us an instant message. We'd love to chat with you or whatever. I don't know. We'll have to work on that piece. I think right now, let's just get the content out and see how people are responding. All right, Joyce, can you do a new and good, then Joanne, new and good, and then let's call it a day if you guys are okay with that.
Gratitude, you mean?
Out of gratitude, yes, please.
Gratitude and appreciation. I am appreciative for all of you. Again, best part of the day. Best part of the day is waking up and seeing your faces. I just, it is so energizing to be around people that are just uplifting, and I learn so much myself from this, and then I get to turn around and give it to other people. So appreciative of the sharing of ideas, and the way that you give feedback is still so encouraging. So I appreciate that from all of you.
Thanks, Joyce.
I'm just still in my little gratitude heaven of last week of us getting to spend time together, and Sunday, and producing, which I'm sure Tom will be amazing editor and get some good content out of that. That was, especially coming up on my birthday this last week and thinking about the last year, it was like, oh my gosh, if you told me that I'd be in Southern California, basically LA, shooting video with my coaching team for our online program, I'd have been extremely excited, but I would have had a little hard time believing it. So the fact that that's what really happened was like, I'm so grateful that we all did what we needed to make that happen. And Chris, especially you and Angie, for getting it all set up and doing the heavy lifting on getting the right people there for it to be productive.
Well, I'm excited about this. That's all I got to say. I got excited. I love the idea that working together, I think we really make a great team, that we all bring such individual things to the table and good ideas. And even Matt.
I was waiting for that. Chris, I want to thank you for shitting on me every time. Joyce, thank you for brushing your hair this morning on camera. And Joanna, thank you for your background. You make everyone feel like we got to up our game a little bit now. So, yeah, I mean, basically, it's fun feeling alive like this. I mean, this is what we want to give to everybody, right? This is so awesome. It's just, I know, it's like, I can't wait for Wednesday now. I got the whole weekend, but I can't wait for Wednesday. So,
all right.
So thank you guys.
Thank you.
Have a great Saturday.
Bye.
Hey Joyce, real quick, I just Googled 300